When it comes to upcycling, I've probably worked with most materials. I live in a shipping container. I've worked with pallets, old furniture. I've been there and done a lot of it. However, one thing I've never done is upcycle an old vehicle. This is a 20-year-old ambulance, and I'm going to turn it into the coolest camper van known to man. In my defence, it was only £1,500, and I think it's going to make the perfect camper van. It just needs a little bit of work, granted. I'm going to give you a guided tour. Now, first of all, it is a bit scruffy. It's an old Mercedes, but I think a little bit of matte black paint around the front end will really help it, make it look a bit off-roady. There's an old air conditioning unit above the cabin, which again looks a bit grotty, so I might dress that with a spare wheel and some fancy LED lights. There's the usual Mercedes rust. They went through a period in the early 2000s of making things very rusty, so these are going to need replaced. There's a few holes from where it's been decommissioned as an ambulance. There would have been a blue light here, so they need filled. Bit of a polish. But apart from that, it's got a 12-month MOT, it runs, and the space in the back is absolutely brilliant. It's 3.6 metres by 2 metres by 2 metres. And I know I'm quite short, but it feels so spacious in the back. So I'm going to show you. Right, now, cool, look at that air suspension. That is one of the real benefits of this ambulance. The suspension is fantastic, 'cause it weighs 4.5 tonnes. And look, it's all a square, it's all vertical walls and boxy, which I think is brilliant. Most vans taper in at the top, and that means my dream is to have a big full-size double bed going left to right at the back. I don't really want multiple vehicles, so I think this should double up as my work van because it's such a big space. Now, I have made a bit of a start. I've had it a few weeks and I've got very sore hands because it turns out, and as you can probably see, ambulances are stuck together with a glue unlike any other product I've ever seen. I don't know what it's called, but it required a lot of heat, a lot of crowbars, a lot of bad language, but I've finally got all of those old units out and I've left myself with, I think, the perfect empty box to start with. In terms of layout, I think it's all up for grabs. The one thing I've got my heart set on is when I go paddling or surfing and I get out of the water and it's cold, I'm a bit miserable, so I'd really like a full-size proper hot water shower, and I think I've got the space for it. That there, some sort of heating element here, which means all of that space at the back is completely freed up, so I can use it for my tools, for lumps of timber, if I'm delivering products, and actually if I'm delivering a long way from home, I can then just kip in the back of the van. Now, I could of course just go and buy a brand new camper van, but A, that's boring and no fun, and B, it's never what you truly want, is it? The layout's always a bit compromised. This gives me the opportunity to put the items I want where I want them. I think this is the ultimate design challenge, because actually when you think about it, my floating home was 40 foot long. This is about 13 foot long. So if I can make this into a home on wheels, this will probably be my biggest challenge to date. Now, as you can see, I've kind of cut a massive hole in the floor of the ambulance. Incredibly, it had the most annoying wheel arches that sat here. They were only 50mm higher than the floor, but they're an absolute trip hazard, and I don't know what sort of problems they caused in ambulance use, but in my camper van, I just couldn't be doing with them. So I've lopped them out. I'm going to flush it off nice and smooth and flat, fill in this little panel here, and there's plenty of travel in the suspension for the wheels. And also it's on airbags, so we can adjust that in the workshop. I'm really pleased I've done this. It's one of those jobs I was a bit scared of doing, but it's going to make a world of difference. Now I've got a completely clean, clear box in which to put my cabinets. That's made me very, very happy. And if nothing else, it's a really good way of checking your tyres. You can measure the tread depth from here. That's always a bonus, isn't it? Oh, my goodness, it's massive up here. It's also very dirty, needs a good clean. However, lots of space. I'm thinking widthways at the front, that massive solar panel, that's the only place for it. I'd really like some sort of decking area, maybe some timbers on top of the aluminium framework. Obviously these weren't standard ambulance things, these have been fitted by the previous owner, so I think they've got to go because they're just stuck down. A couple of screws as well, but a hole in the roof, I don't like the idea of that. It is quite solid. Oh, that's not. I love being experimental, I love trying new things. Not always succeeding first time either, I don't mind making mistakes, but I like to know I've tried to push the boundaries. The stuff you get in a lot of modern motorhomes is actually similar to what you found in a caravan from 1994. This is going to be completely different. I'm going to use cutting edge technology, infrared heating, LEDs, lithium ion. I want to fuse all of that current technology and future technology with a lot of environmental concepts like I have on the houseboat, so solar power, lithium batteries, renewable energy where possible, and then also make it beautiful. I'm asking quite a lot of a small space, but that is, in my opinion, when good design happens, when you're pushing the boundaries and trying to do something unique and different. I love how well made this van is. Look at the hinges, they're so substantial, stainless steel with beautiful button head bolts. Even the toggle switch here is just, oh, it's lovely. However, it was built in Australia, not a bad thing. This here is completely rusted over. I don't have the key for it. There's no way I can refurbish it. So that one little latch I've had to order from Australia, £47 plus shipping. So that's one of the problems. However, it's going to be worth it because it's quality. Little gas struts in here, and this is an original heater from the ambulance which would have kept people warm when they were working. I was going to sack it off. I didn't really want this to start with because I'm going to have my infrared heating. However, this wall here goes through to what I want to make my airing cupboard to dry my wetsuit. So what I might do is redirect this heater straight into the back of the shower and the airing cupboard, and that means all my wet gear should be nice and dry and toasty. So that is a bit of luck. That expensive latch is less lucky. I think it's fair to say this project is a lot bigger than I first anticipated. Although, to be honest, I bought it without seeing it for £1,500, and in that respect it's a great base vehicle. It's a lovely space, it's the right proportions and dimensions. They're just a few little extra jobs, like replacing the wheel arches, respraying the bottom half, replacing all the lights, ripping out the interior, which has taken far longer than I ever imagined. But apart from that, it's brilliant. It's insulated, it's 2 metres by 2 metres by 3.6, it's fantastic. I've done all the design work, I've done all the beard scratching and stroking, I now just need to get on with it.